So yeah, the title of my talk today is something different. How can we modulate our own physiology? And I've been attending only the last three talks, so I haven't been here previous days, but I do know for sure now that it will be something different. So I hope you're ready. And yeah, like Wouter said, I've been working as a medical psychologist in the Netherlands Cancer Institute for the Dutch people, the Antonie van Leeuwenhoek ziekenhuis. And my work there was mainly focused on patients in the palliative phase of their lives. And that's related to the quote that I want to start with, which is our breathing is a fragile vessel that carries us from birth to death. I think it's a very unique thing that it's the only thing in our lives that we have with us 24 hours a day from the moment that we're born or even before that until the very last breath, right? Until the very last day of our lives. And that's related to what I'm going to talk about, but mainly what you are going to do today with me. I'm going to talk briefly about the mind-body connection, what the relevance is of this connection, but mainly how you can apply this in your daily life. And then I want to keep that actually as short as possible so we can do it ourselves right here and right now. Like I said, I've been working as a medical psychologist. Now I have my own practice, but my work there in the Netherlands Cancer Institute showed me more than ever how much the mind and body are connected. We do have two words for it, like maybe there are two different systems, but of course it's one. It just helps us to talk about it and think about it. So once you become ill, and of course it doesn't have to be cancer, you can also have the flu or a cold, you probably all recognize that you feel more grumpy or yeah, just irritated, annoyed, tired. And that shows that once the body is ill, it has an effect on your mind, the way you think, the way you feel. But what I saw mainly in those cancer patients, they were having, for example, the same diagnosis, the same phase of their lives, even the same symptoms, but still the experience of that symptom could be completely different in the way they were thinking about it. So the intensity of the suffering, you could say, was partly caused or intensified by maybe their scary thoughts or being very anxious or angry that, yeah, why is this happening to me? For me, that was really showing how much these two are connected. And an example of this mind-body connection is actually the breathing, right? So your state of mind is affecting the way you breathe. And also the other way around is the way you breathe is also affecting the state of your mind. So maybe a few of those are still confused. Why am I talking about this? Why is there no slide about maybe a scientific paper or scientific evidence? Well, because we wanted to have in this program also something for you that is something different, to give you an experience. How can you actually use your own breath in your own advantage, right? Because it's a very powerful and very simple tool to influence your mental and physical health. So therefore, it's something important. It's something really for yourself, but it can also help you in your leadership. And you might think, oh, but I'm a student, I don't have leadership. We all have leadership in the first place for ourselves, but maybe leadership is also for your team, your group, or maybe at home for your children. So it's something that we're going to experience together now with a few exercises, and hopefully that gives you inspiration to also use it in your future. So back to the effect of the breathing and your state of mind. So you can imagine if you're really angry or maybe scared or sad, even that you notice that your breathing is changing. So this morning, for example, I took a cold shower, and you might think I'm crazy. In a way I am. So immediately, how many times I practice that, the first seconds I do like that. I try to not do that, but it is happening. So the state of mind and the emotions are affecting your breathing. You can imagine maybe yourself or someone else that is crying really heavily, that the breath is way more irregular, and I always call it a bit dramatic. But when you're feeling relaxed, your breath is usually slow and more deeper, so in the belly area compared to only the chest area. The funny thing is that the way you breathe is also affecting the way you feel or the way you think. So breathing is also have an effect on your state of mind. So if you from now on start suddenly breathe fast and more in the chest area, usually the focus is then on the inhalation. So the inhalation becomes more strong. You will feel after a few minutes that you become a little bit more nervous or anxious. And we could say that you are getting ready for action. And that's because the sympathetic nervous system is activated by this way of breathing. And we know this system usually for getting ready for the flight, fight, or freeze reactions. If you are actually already a bit nervous, then you don't want to do this breathing because it's only making it worse. You want to change things up a little bit to more slow, rhythmic, and deep breathing. And therefore, you need to focus on the exhalation, right? The exhalation usually becomes longer and slower in that way. And then you actually activate the parasympathetic nervous system, which is known for the rest and digest functions in the body. So, yeah, this is actually the only things that I wanted to tell you today. If you do have any questions, I will be around during lunchtime, so don't hesitate, just come towards me, or if you want to have a discussion about the systems or about the scientific group. But I really would like to use the rest of the time for some exercises so that you not only hear information, but that you're really gonna feel for yourself what breathing has an effect on you at this moment. So let's start with the first one, and that's actually just a quick check-in. And you can do this on a daily basis with yourself. Usually we say, hey, how are you doing? Yeah, great, yeah, good. But how are you actually doing? And we can collect a lot of information from our body. We tend to not do that because we're just not so aware of this whole thing that we are carrying around the whole day. But there is a lot of information stored in there. So just to do a real quick one, I'm going to say start and count in my head, or actually I just watching my watch to see how long the minute is. After a minute, I say stop. And during this 1 minute, you don't change anything. So you're not going to breathe slower or faster or deeper. You just breathe how you are breathing right now. The only thing you're going to do is count your inhalation, right? So is that clear for everyone? Yeah. Okay. So let's start in 2, 1, go. And stop. Right. So raise your hand if you're in the category of 1 to 5 breaths during this minute. 2 people in the back and 1 in the front. Right. 6 to 10 breaths. 11 to 15. 16 to 20. More than 20. Yeah. So what we know is that if we are actually not, I mean, it's different for when you're doing sports or another high intensity activity. When we're just like sitting, like what we're doing here, we only need 6 to 8 breaths per minute. So if you were higher than 6 to 8, then actually your body is using energy to make you breathe way faster than you actually need. And that's a loss of energy, right? Because you don't need to. So that's the first thing. If you are breathing a bit slower, then either you maybe are almost falling asleep or really relaxed. That's up to you to decide. But if you notice now, oh, I was actually in the category that was above 8, then it is very worthy, I would say, to do some exercises to slow your breath down, because you're in a very safe room. I mean, I know it's a bit scary to not know what exercises are going to follow, but in a way you are very safe here, so you don't need to breathe that fast. And if you imagine how many breaths you're actually taking then on a day, and that it maybe can be half of that, and all these tiny muscles are working for you to make all these breaths possible, it could be the case that you're at the end of the day more tired than you need to be just because you breathe faster than you have to. So let's start with yeah.
Other than diet, I think the amount of coffee.
Yeah, there are a lot of factors affecting your breathing and your heart rate, what is happening around you, how much noise there is, what you take in for food, for drinks, caffeine, how much or little you slept last night, what's still on your to-do list. So a lot of things are happening, are infecting the amount of breath. So just doing that counting is telling you, okay, well, in this situation, I know what I've been drinking or eating today. I know that I don't have to do so much today or at this moment. So now it is too high. So use that information to slow it down. Or maybe it is actually perfectly fine. And then you think, oh, well done, I'm doing good. Yeah. So for the ones who are in the higher categories, let's see what this 1-minute release exercise does for you. And it might sound like 1 minute, can that change something? Well, let's experience it for ourselves today. And why 1 minute? Because it's so handy to have just this exercise right in your pocket, basically, that when you are going to the toilet, you can do this one, no one notices it, and you will come out like sunshine. So um, you might want to do this with your eyes closed, because that can help concentrate. But if that feels uncomfortable, just stare maybe at your feet or at a kind of meaningless spot in front of you. Before we want to do this one, I want to ask you to check in with yourself how you are feeling right now. So we do like a before and after measurement, right? So just indeed close your eyes if you want to, and sit down in a way that you really feel supported by the chair. So both feet also on the floor, right under your knees. Lean into the chair the way you want to. Leave your hands just where it feels comfortable. And then feel how you are doing. Is it relaxed? Is it tired? Is it nervous? Is it happy? Is it sad? Is it wanting to go home? Is it hungry? Feel like lunch, that delicious Dutch lunch that we always get here. What word comes to mind when you ask yourself, how am I doing? Then we're gonna do the 1-minute release breath, which is just as simple as this. We're gonna breathe in as much as you can. You hold it for a little bit and then breathe out all the air that's inside you, and then even a bit more, and you hold it there for a few counts, and then you return to your normal breath. So I will guide you through it. So first, breathe the air out that's right now in you, so we can start all together. Breathe out, and then start with a deep inhale through your nose, as deep as you can. So fill up your whole body with all the air possible. And if you think nothing more is happening, you hold it for 1, 2 counts, and then slowly, slowly breathe out through your nose again. Really slow, 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 slow. All the air out, 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 until there's nothing left anymore. You hold it there for 2 counts. 1, 2, and then you slowly just return to normal breathing. And when you are doing that, check in yourself. Did something change? And it can be very subtle, right? Maybe you have a different thought. Maybe your head is a bit calmer. Maybe you notice actually some weird muscle ache. Maybe you feel less tension in the muscles. Maybe you notice that your shoulders are up high and you can lower them down a bit. Maybe you're just more aware of how cold it is in this room. Or maybe, whatever. What this one breath did for you. And remember, you can do this anywhere, anytime. It can really help you to just come back to yourself for, 1 minute, right? But sometimes we are actually in the middle of still a work day. We still have a lot of tasks to do, but you might feel tired or you don't feel like it anymore. Then you can also use the breath. So usually when we think about breathing exercises, it's about relaxing, it's about falling asleep, but you can also use your breath to actually activate yourself. Maybe you already had 4 or 5 or how many coffees and you think, oh, I can't do anymore. Well, try instead a breathing exercise. You don't always have to use coffee to activate yourself again. So if you are known with panic attacks or that you feel nervous right now, you might want to skip this one because we start with kind of intense breathing. But if you are feeling comfortable with it, just practice and see what it does for you. You might become a little bit dizzy. Don't panic. That's perfectly normal. It's a side effect of this treatment, I would say. And it will calm down once we continue with the other rounds where it's less intense, right? So I've written down the steps of this exercise. So you could say it's a focus reset breathing exercise where we first start with intense breathing, which means that we're gonna breathe deep in and deep out, 4 counts in, 4 counts out in a pretty fast way without pausing in between. So it's in, out, in, out. After a while, we're going to expand this one into, we call it box breathing because you can make a square, right? You inhale for 4 counts, you hold it for 4 counts, you exhale for 4 counts, and you hold it again for 4 counts. We do that a couple of rounds. Usually this is making you, again, more relaxed because it's very rhythmic and because you hold your breath for 4 counts every time, the breaths become longer again. And therefore you breathe less than the 4, 4, 4, 4. Then after a few rounds, we're going to extend this one with 4 counts in, 8 counts holding the breath, 4 counts out, and then 8 counts again holding the breath. This might be a bit difficult because it's really a long pause. So if it's too long for you, just make it in your head or you keep it 4, 4, 4, 4, or you make it 4, 6, 4, 6. Just see how it is also helping you, right? This is not like, oh, we have to do this on willpower and it doesn't feel right, but I'm going to do it anyways. Just also connect with how it's helping for you. And yeah, I'm really curious afterwards how it will make you feel if you're ready for the new task, which I think in this case will be lunch, but it's also very important. But yeah, you can then remember this one if you need to switch between tasks or if it's just a very full day and you feel like that coffee, right? That you do this first and then see if you still need that coffee. Before we start, are there any questions? No? Okay, so I will just talk you through it. And it might, again, help to close your eyes to really concentrate on what I'm saying and to concentrate on your in and exhalations. So, and don't be shy. I want to hear your breathing, right? Because we start with the intense way. So it can be really, it's all through the nose, unless you're having a cold and it's impossible. Then you breathe through your mouth. But the first phase, just the 4, 4, like 4 in, 4 out, can really sound like that, right? So if we do it all together, no one has to be ashamed. All right, and I'm gonna count for you, so that doesn't you don't have to count for yourself, right? So start with breathing out and then breathe in 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4. Make it a bit more intense. 4, out, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3. Bit more. 2, 3, 4, out, 2, in, 2, 3, 4, out, in, out, in, out, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, in, out, hold, in, hold, out, hold, in, 2, 3, 4, hold for 8, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out, 2, 3, hold, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, in, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, out, 2, 3, hold, 2, in, hold, out, hold, in, hold, out, hold. Now you can slowly return to normal breath. And then again, check in with yourself. How are you feeling right now? And who dares to share what this exercise did for you? What difference did it make? Palmer? Yeah.
Heart rate, but still more relaxed as well.
Yeah, that's also interesting, right? Yeah. Interesting experience. Higher heart rate, but even still more relaxed. So it can, yeah, it can has to do with the longer pauses and the concentration of the exercise, but it's at least changing your own physiology, right? Yeah. All right. Completely other experience. Yeah.
Concentrated.
More concentrated. Good. Good. Yeah.
It kind of clears your mind out. Now
Mm.
you're ready to like zone it into one task instead of having things.
Wow. Great. Great. Better than a coffee, right? Right. So we're not going to do this one today, but just keep it in mind or keep it in the back of your head. If you have hard times falling asleep or you actually are already very nervous and you want to calm yourself down, The 4, 7, 8 exercise is really helpful. So 4 counts in, hold it for 7, and then breathe really slowly out for 8, and then you repeat that a few cycles. So I hope this actually made you experience and made you feel that the breathing is a very simple and at the same time powerful tool to use for yourself, for your mental and your physical health. And thank you for your attention, and just breathe. That's it.